voice actors. Who and what are they? Well, it's pretty simple. Nope, the guy behind me, you're looking at right now, he is my voice actors. He represents my voice. When you don't see him, and then just see the VTuber side of me, and then yes, technically, most and all VTuber is a voice actor in some sense. And almost every media that you hear in the radio ads, even the broadcasters, like in the radio show, animations, 3D animation, 2D animations, or just like YouTubers that just you never see their face, they just using their voice, is a voice actor in some sense. Anyone and whoever, long as you know how to represent a entity with your voice in a very accurate form, you are a voice actor. And yes, being one is actually quite easy. All you need to do is have a very expensive mic or decent enough mic and a very decent audio interface, and then voila, you are a voice actor now. Yes, that's just like generally how things works for voice actings. And to call a voice actor as a certain career, no, I won't really call it a career, to be honest. I try to get into voice acting too. The more I learn about voice acting, the more I learn how fucked up it is within the industry of trying to become voice actors. You will try to search around how to become a voice actor, this and that, yeah, that stuff. If you ever ask just ask ChatGPT, ironically, later on why I say that, or Grok or anything, or even just everyone in the forum on voice acting, you just tell them can I have a stable career as a voice actor? No one will tell you it's possible. You can, definitely. Those privileged few. It's if I really have to say more than 50%, or I make it more generalized for the entire world included, 80%, more than 80% of voice actors have to have another job. Maybe a retail shop, or part-timers, consistent part-time, go to cafe or this and stuff, or any other jobs, a very consistent, stable income jobs. You need to at least have one to be able to do a job as a voice actor, because voice actors earning sucks. It's really hard for a voice actor to actually make a stable career out of it, unless you really have very big connections for literally just play yourself for almost every single movie, like Aqua Phoenix. But yeah, they just have so much difficulty when it comes to wanting to become voice actors, because like I say again, anyone can be one. So, and you see when you go into much more familiar side, voice acting cube, voice acting cube, it's voice acting club, or the casting call club, all those kind of places, or the pay to play places. There's always a very steep competition when it comes to all of those kind of things. And imagine that you doing if you're not really studio affiliated, you are just indie voice actors. If you don't have a job, you can't survive long enough to get the equipment for it, to get sometimes you have to go to lesson course on how are you going to play as a characters, because you if you are self-learning, you do need some later on you do need some attend some courses to learn how to act, or to learn how to do voice properly for a certain role. Is imagine you do a role for a game like Zelda, The Legend of Zelda. Link doesn't really talk. He just do the those kind of things. There is a method for you to act properly for that characters. You need to have heft when you he's holding heavy stuff, this and that, yeah, that stuff. You different way to record, different way are you going to act as a person, different way you can put emotions into any voice is a very important thing. Like, anyone can shift their voice, but if you have to shift your voice and have the ability to act while you shift that voice is also a very needed subject. Being able to change your voice doesn't matter that much in some sense, unless you that is like you're basically playing your own characters. Then even changing your voice is still kind of fine because you are just speaking how you normally speak. But when you change it, you have to match the characters, like their motive, their emotions, their character trait, this and that, this stuff. Like, imagine like you have to use this voice to sound like Beverly Hill Girls, like oh, you know that, those kind of things. So like, it's very like, you think about it, it's like very difficult, right? But it doesn't mean it's not possible. If you're good enough, you can play any character with like a very ridiculous voice. Imagine you just sound like this, and then you can do quite lots of different roles with this. Then yes, you can essentially use any voice to play anything, long as you act correctly for that character role. But like I say again, being a voice actor is so difficult to a point. There are so many competitions and so not really viable as a stable career. You need to have a second jobs to sustain your own life, to buy equipment, to get set up your room if you're doing remote work, do this, do that. Like, there's so many things you have to like sunk in and invest your money into it. You're more like losing money for participating or for getting this job rather than like you gain money from it in any way at all. Maybe you have reputations and connections, you can get a job much more easier. Yes, this is why I say like there's a privileged few that can actually get voice acting as a stable career, but most people is just scraping by. If like worse, if like they don't have any job aside from voice acting and then they're just scraping by, holy heck, I actually worry about their life. To be honest, it's a very, very difficult job to get a stable career out of. So much so to a point, I really want to like have some expert like seeing what I'm talking right now. They go ahead and research about it and see why it is so fucked up to like have a career as a voice actor. Some people might have to restructure the entire system of most entertainment industries, because like it is like when you call it a career, but you can't actually have a stable, like 80%, above 80% of people can't have a stable career out of it. You might have to rethink a little bit like the structure of how the job functions to take a like closer look into it, how this kind of stuff happens. But yeah, like anyhow, like I say, if anybody managed to get a career, stable career out of it, or like get a fame, or like they get a few like very like good upstarting jobs, or like very like good role, they will defend the shit out of their career. Because like I say, it's so difficult to become a voice actor. You literally have to crawl out from a shithole just to become voice actors. So you can see like sometimes some voice actor is like super defensive about their role. And definitely when it comes to like voice actor, different place, country have like different cultures, how people treat voice actors. There are places like they are basically either small time or big time celebrity, like Japan. Like most voice actor over there is like really, really big. They practically are a star in there. So yeah, it's mainly because like how the medium works is like animes and like radio show, games, all those kind of jazz. Voice actor in Japan is like you already have gained a certain level of celebrity fame into it. But I remember the barrier entry is actually pretty difficult. But yeah, it's like it's going to say like it's a very iffy positions when you want to become a voice actor. So when things is like you remotely felt getting insulted or getting threatened as a voice actor, people lash out really, really hard, because like I say again, you really earn that shit if you manage to like have a role. I'm not even kidding. You really crawl your way into like the English voice acting scene, and you earn that job. So when I can kind of like understand why some people is like when they learn about the AI thing that can sort of replace them, they become like really like ballistic about this kind of stuff. You already know like the Genshin drama for voice actor, this and that, other stuff. It's a very weird thing. I do have like a react for it, so like you guys can take a look at that. I'll point at you in the descriptions. If you guys are interested in that particular kind of like drama and stuff, you guys can take a look at it. And right now, Hoyoverse is like basically had enough with those weird ass situations, that awkward situation people just decided to just like bully them for no reasons. Like, I'm not even kidding that. If you don't know what the heck happened in the English voice acting scene in Hoyoverse, like the Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, all those kind of things, you can either watch my react or like watch Mugen. He have like a covering on that. It's basically people start a strike for nothing burgers. It's like they're not treating them bad or anything, but people just suddenly start like a riot in there. Not a riot, it's more like a strike in there for no reasons, this and that other stuff. On paper, it's not actually like the way they do it is like like there's a procedures to do strike properly if you want to represent a union. They are not really like representing union at all, but they keep telling them people like they're representing a union. And then like do a lot of strike, not working, this and that other stuff. Yeah, you may not be able to replace by AI, but you never expected they will fire you and then replace you with another voice actor, right? I do feel bad for some of them because like they really are innocent or victim of the circumstances, to be honest. The guy who started all the strike thing, I think he is the one that's responsible for everything. And SAG Union don't really want to give a shit about it because like they get benefit either way things happens. If they fail on a strike, everyone just get fired. It doesn't harm the union. If they successful in the strike, they get a big contract from Hoyoverse. Each game of forever and ever. Like also like any people who will, since it's a live service game, gacha game practically it is, basically you will work long term as a voice actor in that job. And if people are going to become a member of the union, they have to pay the union. And then also the Hoyoverse also have to pay them to maintain the contract and stuff. And for non-union like voice actor, if you're going to work in there for a certain period amount of time, you can work as a non-union like voice actor in there, but when you are American and you work there long enough, I think it's like 90 days or like 60 days, you can keep delaying it until 90 days. Technically, like maximum, like it's like you can delay it until 90 days. The more higher profile like of voice acting work you do in there, like the more you will get hit by that thing. You basically are forced to need to join the union. If you don't want, means you're going to lose that job. Yeah. Either you lose that job or you can't participate any union related job anymore. Sounds sucks, right? So that there is like definitely sometimes like some I'm not really sure the way I say is accurate. You can go and watch again Mugen on his like in-depth talk about the union stuff because he does brought up lots of informations to understand. I'm still a dum-dum that just got in, so I'm not really like process everything yet. But the more I dive into the industry, the more I know like how difficult just being a voice actor is. The life of trying to become a voice actor is also really, really hard. And I say again, if you manage to get into Hoyoverse or like any like live service work that constantly need your voice to work, means that you hit the jackpot. For one thing, it's like Genshin characters, there's a lot of definite like big fan base into it. If you represent as a characters in there, and then that character is actually famous to a certain point, you do have like a little bit of patch of fame in there too. Not just that, like again, it's a stable career. They will always want you to do something with the voice, maybe an event that use your characters, that you have to voice the characters again, this and that stuff. Basically, the things you do, you will just keep getting a stable career out of it if you are working in that. And if they like your voice and they say like, oh, I have a few more characters, like maybe like Genshin, you voice these characters, or like Xenozones, the ZZZ have like another characters. Oh, somewhat like I feel like your voice can match up to this character very well too, and then you got a chance of another job. It's a privilege to get a Hoyoverse job, to be honest. I was like, Hoyoverse, call me. Now, like they did strike so much to the point. Hoyoverse is just, you know what? Fuck you guys. Like I think like on the union strike stuff, like on the Hoyoverse for no reasons. That one like really is for no reasons. They keep saying like it's for the AI. Like the company they contract with already have AI protections, and the game itself is in like the developer is in China, and China have like this rule for like AI propaganda rule is basically like you can they, in order to like prevent like fake news and those kind of things, they have a very strict like deepfake and AI rule in there. So you think like Hoyoverse is going to go against the China government, okay, the China government, just to like use AI voice? Obviously no, and they do understand the value of voice actor too. You know, it's basically the voice does make a break for the characters too. Like I say again, even VTubers have like this visual side of them, and then there's also like the voice side of them. The voice actually can do a lot of make or break situations, and they understand the role of voice actors. Obviously, they also understand the role of like the visual side, the animation, this and that, other stuff. They are actually quite a decent like game developers too. Some people might not like gacha, but if you do study the game aspect of things, you know they know that shit, and they actually care about what they do. And they understand the intricate stuff of everything. It's like, they are not just a writer, is just a writer. The writer also understands the game side, the mechanic side, the rule and the visual, this and that kind of stuff. They generally got half of the knowledge of like how to make a game and stuff, those kind of things. It's not like AAA game industry right now is basically like businessman is only doing business stuff. Like art side will only do art stuff. Writer only do writer stuff. All those kind of things, like being very like disconnected. And you know a game when you can see when you play enough. But yeah, right now, like I say again, Hoyoverse is basically say like, you know what, fuck you guys, and yeah, basically retaliating with those kind of like people just having strike for no reasons. So yeah, let's head into the scene and have a little bit of watch react.
Hope you guys are having a great week. Sorry for missing you yesterday. Had some personal stuff to take care of. But I returned today to some crazy news. We've got an update in the voice actor stuff over here on the subreddit for Honkai Star Rail, that being a Hoyoverse game for those that don't know. We've got the title, Kalis and Stell have been officially recasted as of version 3.3. Now, as you guys know,
you know what, Hoyoverse, if you need to recast more people, I'm here. I'm a foreigner. I'm not from US. So yeah, if I get shit by them, I might become famous too. Who knows?
I do play Genshin, but I don't actually play Honkai, so I'd like to get some additional context here at gosugamers.net. We'll just spend like 30 seconds reading the key areas here at the top, where they say, Honkai Star Rail version 3.3, The Fall at Dawn's Rise, dropped on Wednesday, May 21st, with 2 new 5-star characters in Hyacine and Cypher, Hyacine and Cypher, as well as tons of other additions. However, the update also featured a surprising change as the voice actors for the game's main character, the Trailblazer, have been replaced. In Honkai Star Rail, players embark on an interstellar journey as the male or female version of the Trailblazer, commonly known by their canon names Kalis and Stell. Since the game's launch in April 2023, the Trailblazer has been voiced by Caleb Yen, Kalis, and Rachel Chow, Stell. So this is basically like the Honkai version of the Traveler in Genshin. Let's take a look and see if the voice actors who got recast have issued any statement on this yet. Hopping over to Twitter first for Rachel Chow. We can see the bio does still say ENVA for Stell. And scrolling down, there is nothing as of May 5th. That's the latest post. But her pinned tweet does say, making the jump. Follow me on Blue Sky at the same handle. Chow for now. I'll keep Yield Twitter up so you can find me and to protect this glorious handle. All right, hopping over to Blue Sky. We can see Rachel Chow is also here, but interestingly enough, on Blue Sky, her username is a little bit different, including...
You know, if this thing keeps up, Hoyoverse is not going to have any like American side, or maybe even like worse, like even the EU side of like English voice actors. There's still lots of like English speaking country exist, not just American and EU side. Like Philippine people know how to speak English. Japan also have people that can speak English in that. This is why like how does like halfway of the drama that escalate because of that too. Someone in Japan that can speak English very well, or replace like some other like people who are on strike. And Malaysia is also lots of people speak English. Me, I am Malaysian by the way. And there's also Singapore, and there's quite a lot of places have the capability of speaking English. It's not like it doesn't exist, If they're going to keep this up, most likely they will just hire foreign English speaking voice actors. And I'm also like trying to go for English speaking voice actor too. So yeah. Who knows?
She they in the username. Interesting because on Twitter she put she they in the bio, but over here it's in the title. I don't know. Is that a Blue Sky thing or something? I have no idea. But the bio does still say ENVA of Stell and Honkai Star Rail. And similarly,
I hate to say this, it sounds like a very like asshole if I'm going to say this, and people like know that what I'm going to say that I hate the dating. It's not because I'm kind of like the IOV day, he, she, those kind of things, like have like a lot of like convoluted stuff. Like the pronoun things is really stupid. Either you want to be a he or you want to be a she. I know there's like a circumstances you gay for someone or you lesbian for someone, and then later on like it didn't work out, and then you found out that I can also like the opposite gender too, and then you end up become bi. Then I'm fine with it, but you're so confused to the fact that later on you just call yourself they because you really don't want to confine yourself with a he or she. I will decided to call you a very indecisive person. You can be he and then later on be she afterward. They is a really indecisive language. I'm not even kidding about that. It's like if you want to be that, just be that. And I know there are people using they properly because they understood the meaning of it. But there are so many people, they just use like they, them, that kind of like stuff because they are confused. Not just confused, they are so indecisive. They just use that because everyone is using it. Some people actually use it to have a meaning to a point. Now they're looking at it, they'd be like, man, the indecisive one have demeaning the they word they decided to use. So much. It practically becomes jokes. Then if it's like that, I think people just stick with like he, him, she, her. It's better than like being they. Because like nowadays, if I look like the people have like pronoun for they or them, I would just think you are a very indecisive person. Or if you want, you can say it, that. Just don't be a human at this point. Like you can see like how convoluted a human it is. I prefer you use it at this point.
the Twitter on this part, no activity lately, and no statement issued about the recasting. As for Caleb Yen, he does also still say Trailblazer in his bio, but I don't believe he's on Blue Sky, so all we'll take a look at is this Twitter account, and there's even less activity here. Pin tweet from 2021, and the last post actually from back on December 5th, 2024. Let's actually return to the Blue Sky account for Rachel Chow, though. I found something that gives some more context. So 2 months ago, we got this Blue Sky post from Shar that says, to Rachel, so glad you could find happiness and have a great day. I miss you a whole lot in Honkai Star Rail, and I send weekly feedback requesting them to sign the interim agreement for AI protections so you and the other wonderful actors can get back to voicing our beloved characters. Hope for positive news. Now, hopefully, as you know, and something we've talked about extensively on this channel,
She's in the AI strike. I wonder why they're like so insisting on like the SAG union have to have like the AI thing. I wonder why. It's not like they don't have any protections. It's not like they're getting underpaid. Signing it is actually having more negative than positive. Like I say again, not just American based have like English, people that speak English, you know. EU have people speak English. UK has people speak English. Philippines have people speak English. Like all those kind of things. They can just hire people outside from that if you're going to force them to pay a fee just to maintain a union, English union actors. For a negotiation standpoint, they already at like the disadvantage here, you know? And I say again, being a voice actor is very difficult, and getting like this type of like gacha game, which is like a long-term service game, you will always have a chance to have a stable career if you work in there. It's a very great opportunity to do that. I don't know why. I really don't know why they do that. Like I say again, they are not the only English-speaking country. If they do strike like this, they already have this advantage. They are going to get replaced. You might not be... The AI technology right now might not be able to replace you. You still can be replaced. The strike things like only like American-based stuff is still kind of functions. Like, I don't know why American is always reside within like a very small bubble sometimes. So when you're already like using like especially on the English side of things, that you just like reside within the English side of thing, and then you realize that actually I can just hire non-Americans that can speak English. The moment, let's hope like the game industry, the AAA game industry like in America doesn't realize that. And one of the things, like, if anyone plays Xenoblade before, they know, like, not a single Xenoblade characters is actually American English. Everyone is from UK. The more funnier thing is, like, especially Xenoblade 2, there's, like, different country locations, and if you don't know, UK technically is a 4-country together, so each country represent one of the accents over there. Which is actually very interesting the way they portray it.
For a few months now, obviously the interim agreement is about a lot more than just AI protections. That's like the whole Trojan horse thing, the whole like manipulative part that a lot of people have been criticizing the VAs, SAG, the agreement for, to put it simply, of course. But I suppose I'll add on to this really quickly for anyone who may be out of the loop on this still. And essentially, one of the biggest issues is that the agreement and these VAs and SAG are trying to flip these games, Hoyoverse games and other games, to be union-only games, which would come with a lot of negative repercussions for VAs who are not a part of the union, such as forcing voice actors who don't want to join the union into joining the union and having to pay those members' dues, or risk being terminated from their positions, from their roles. Nevertheless, Rachel Chow responds and says, "Aw, thank you so much. That is really so kind and helpful of you. Hoping for good news soon, too." I guess that didn't age so well, did it? Here's something really funny. So back on the subreddit Honkai Star Rail and the post that we read earlier about this recasting news, you can see a top comment here says, "So it's like Kenichi and Genshin, only new lines for now. Older will be replaced in the future. So it'll be a mix of both VAs for now. There is also lots of NPC VA changes, not even for EN, but looks like for JP also." The response saying, "We live in hope that this means we could still get a recast for Paimon." I will play the heck out of Genshin if they recast Paimon. Give her free runs English VA and I'm sold. So you can see that the people's dreams for a Paimon recast is still holding strong, still very much alive. Maybe more alive than ever now. An interesting point at the top about the Kenichi situation and these VAs getting replaced. I do wonder if when we see the announcement of who the new VAs are for the Trailblazers and Honkai, if we'll see, just like we saw happen to Jacob Takanashi, the new VA for Kenichi, that a certain clique of very toxic English voice actors and SAG...
Like I say again, it's a very privilege to be able to get into a job that gives you stable income. And so far, I can see like it's like American-based voice actor does this only. It's weird. Because it is just American-based voice actors doing this, it's like, you guys already at disadvantage. People in EU can replace you. People that any other country that have like English speaking skills that can replace you. Might not be the best one, but it is. It does exist.
After bootlickers and their supporters will try and harass the new VAs too, just like they did to Jacob Takanashi. Of course, they all know very well how much backlash they got for that situation though, so perhaps this time they won't actually do it, even if they really want to. Maybe now they'll be scared of all the backlash that they will get from the communities and the internet at large. It's really crazy how big of bullies these people are. We literally saw some VAs on Blue Sky saying that people like Jacob Takanashi deserve to be harassed even more, and saying stuff like, oh, back in the good old days of unions, people used to get physically assaulted for being scabs, and trying to make it sound like, oh, Jacob Takanashi got off easy, and all the
foreign English voice actors. This is why I felt a little bit threatened sometimes too. I'm a foreign English voice actors.
Fans mad at us really shouldn't be mad at all. By the way, let me also clarify something. This comment we read a moment ago that I said is a top comment is in fact the top comment in the thread. Both,
to be honest, American Union only function in the American side. It's like if I join them, it doesn't. It's not like I join them. I can't even join them if I wanted to. So it's really not my. It's really like not my problem. Malaysia have their own like voice union. I believe Japan, they have like a very rigid structures. They don't even need voice union because like voice actors is practically a small time celebrity in there. And many other countries have like their own either like union like things or like stuff like cultures like going on there that function very differently. I think like being like not too viable things that I did talk about for being a voice actors, like you really have to work 2 jobs for it. I do think is some things that is just a very, very American thing. Maybe. I'm not really sure.
sorted by top and also sorted by best. Come on, Reddit. What are you doing? There we go. Okay. Speaking of people upset on Blue Sky about this news and getting mad at the fans of these games, there is some stuff we'll take a look at in a moment where, yeah, there's more people mad over on Blue Sky. But first, let's hop over to the Genshin Impact subreddit. We took a look at Honkai Star Rail. Now we'll read some over on our Genshin. This post reading, the VAs for Honkai Star Rail main characters have been replaced, which we share the VA of Gaming with. So I guess he'll be replaced soon. Hey, quick side note about that. Do you guys remember when Gaming was released and people in the community were making memes about like gaming, like, wow, they really released a character in a game whose name is Gaming? And then you had a bunch of Twitter cops who are probably now on Blue Sky saying that it's very offensive to make fun of his name. Like, you guys shouldn't be doing that. it's like racist. It's a Chinese name. And it was like some of the most brain rot stuff ever. To take it even further back, it was like when people were mad about the John Lee memes. Oh, you can't call John Lee. That is so problematic, guys. Oh my gosh. Now, look, really quick, as much like fun as I'll make at Blue Sky, which is completely justified, by the way, completely justified. I will say, as mentioned, that I have seen some like actually like cool artists on Blue Sky. So I always feel bad for the people who are on Blue Sky that just went there to like share art and stuff and are like not weird. But my gosh, man, that whole website has some serious brain rot issues. It like Twitter is still bad, but I'll say that it got
easy, simple. Weird people need clout. They need audience to survive. If all the all the normal people see Blue Sky, oh, Blue Sky, so I can escape from the weird people. I say again, they need audience, the weird people, so they move to Blue Sky too. The chase never ends. This is why I still stay in Twitter. I have a Blue Sky account, but I practically don't use it. It's more like I want a name in there, so like people will imposter my Kiray characters. Just that. Really, just that. And like you understand the aspect. You run away from the crazy, but the crazy will always chase you down. You just have to learn to ignore them. Now you are in the smaller communities, like Blue Sky is definitely still the small size. You can see the crazy even easier. Haha. I know there's a lot of artists over there. I need to like post my art stuff there too, to be honest. But I'm not the kind of person who use social media. It's weirdly, I am weirdly old person. I got into social media really late. So personally, I don't really use social media that much. I'm more of a person who watch YouTube rather than go to like social media to watch stuff. You know?
A little bit better, maybe even more than a little bit better, because a lot of those sort of Twitter got people did go over to Blue Sky. That's a fact. And so, like, while the levels have balanced out a bit more on Twitter, it's like Blue Sky is completely out of balance. There's just so much brain rot there. It's crazy. But going back to this Genshin post about the VAs recast.
Yeah, like I say, the circle is smaller, so you can see the crazy more.
Stuff, most of the responses at the top are responding to the question about like Gaming potentially getting replaced. But here's one that talks about VA stuff in general, saying, what are the odds for Zac and Sarah, Aether and Lumine's VAs, these being the travelers, the main characters in Genshin, to also be replaced? I would also understand if they do that, but not gonna lie, I like them so much. I'd be sad if / when that happens. Now, I don't know anything about Sarah, but I will say about Zac. I actually met him years ago, completely through chance at Anime Expo. Was walking around the exhibit hall and he came up to me. We start talking. He mentions he's a voice actor for Genos on One Punch Man, because at the time I think that was his only like notable role. This was way before Genshin. This was before Tanjiro and all that. And yeah, he seemed like a pretty cool, hardworking, chill dude. And I'm assuming all these years later he still is. I haven't really kept up with him, but I can only say good things from my experience with him years ago. So I'm assuming, as mentioned, he's still like that. Point being, he seems like one of the good VAs out there, and I do hope this all works out for him. Taking a little more of a look through this thread before we move on to the blue.
Let's say again, I do blame the guy who started all this like strike stuff. To be honest, to convince everyone to do strike, and then everyone like basically just got caught in the blasting zone. Sadly, I would say this again. This is a very, very like opposite opinion of like how I'm talk shit about like why they do this. But I do strongly think Paimon voice actors can be considered one of the victims of this circumstance. Again, this is basically a very big domino effect. It's like, she is having a crash out in Twitters and like TikTok and anything like that, but how it started in the first place is basically the strike that make this happen. That people start get replaced. She got pissed off by that and then start to defend either fellow colleague or maybe like even friends, and then got shit on, and then she tried to like go fight against those people who shit on her. And you know how Twitter is. It's basically, you try to like, even you just want to ask for a simple explanations, there will be like you will see like there's like one reply that have like a branch off of like a tangents arguments that having in there. She's basically is there right now. It's not even related to the entire situations at the moment. It's just a complete tangent. She got caught up by that. Obviously, she did say some unhinged stuff. It's more like a half understanding of like what the things she talked about. It's like, obviously, she understand union stuff, understand this, understand stuff, but she seems to be not able to comprehend the vast intricate of every other things that link to it. So, it becomes such a mess because of that.
Blue Sky Anger. This next comment reading, I just hope they won't recast Zac. Him, Zhongli, and Ito VAs are the only ones I hope don't get recast. And then this one reading, apparently we have reached the found out portion of FAFO. It's sad too. I do enjoy the current swatch of ENVAs. I really do. But at this point, the game has been revealed. The jig is up. Everyone knows the truth about the strike and its real goal. And I'm frankly tired of having my game enjoyment held hostage by people who should have quite frankly known better. And
yeah, it's our left field strike too. It's like, if it's like union target strike, then it's kind of like there. Everyone get into it for like a purpose. To be honest, the strike in like Genshin Impact or like Hoyoverse entire thing is literally come out from left field. Again, they are not getting mistreated. They just decided not to work in there for some reasons. And I know the reason is like AI and stuff, but it's not really like, the union is fighting the AI stuff for AAA industry, for the scummy AAA industry in the American side only. They only target like Activision, this and that stuff, because they actively want to use AI voice and then not pay royalty of using your voice as AI voice. They change the contract and stuff, like all those like kind of like scummy contract things that happen in there. It's not really happening in Hoyoverse, but they go on like individually. People who are union in SAG union American side individually start a strike in there for no reasons, because it's like Hoyoverse is not even like in the target list of like going to have strike in there. They just do it by borrowing the name of the union for no reasons. And like I say again, the union also do not have an incentive to stop them too. If they succeed, they get a big contract in their hand. If they fail, it's not their fault. It's a like, you know, like those kind of like rogue group of people that decided to do their own thing in their name. It's like if you do like a activism, there will always like one like wild group that go branch out and maybe do terrorism in some sense. Literally, like I'm not saying that doing terrorism. I mean like the extreme case, like some activism, like just do like normal strike, and then there's like one group of extreme people just go around bombing the shit out of place, and then just say like, we are represent this group. It's just basically that. It's just basically that.
And another comment wanting Paimon to get recast, reading,
I say again, so in either way, if that group got eliminated, they can just say, oh, those are just a rogue group, because like it's the strike in like Hoyoverse really is not in their paperwork. There's no like things like announced this and that stuff, like the union is officially choosing Hoyoverse as a strike company. As a company that in the list to be strike. So win or losses in there is the voice actors' own doing. For them, from what they see, from what I'm seeing right now as a third party looking at everything happening. So the union have the scummy side too, at this point. They're basically sacrificing all the voice actor in there to get benefit, the possible benefit in there.
I hope they can now also recast the white flying turd we have flying right next to us. That takes us over to this exchange back on Twitter, where a Genshin YouTuber said, I really wish there was a better outcome for the English VA situation, but as soon as Hoyo started replacing people, it was evident that they were fighting a losing battle. Response reading, what's crazy about it is that Genshin and other Hoyoverse games aren't even affected by the strike in the first place. The English VAs chose not to record because they wanted higher payments or something like that, with someone else saying it's much more complicated than that, and then a different user responding saying, no, it's not. SAG actors do what SAG does and strike because of AI, quote unquote, when in reality they want absolute control over Mihoyo projects. Yep. They hide behind a facade of AI protections. Hoyo already respects AI protections, and rally everyone, including non-union VAs. When their lies were uncovered, the higher-ups at SAG conveniently started enforcing their global Rule 1. Union actors cannot work on union projects. You mean on non-union projects, I think, but continuing. Holding the VAs that do want to go back to work hostage, it's not that complicated. The SAG VAs just tell you it's complicated to have you feel pity for SAG, when in fact, they are the problem. Another response to the initial tweet reading, who was fighting a losing battle? This is SAG's attempt to strong-arm a foreign company into complying with the scummiest contract I've ever seen. Hoyoverse has been incredibly patient with the strike. If anyone is fighting a losing battle, it's SAG. Hoyo isn't going to budge. That seemed to have upset someone else as they say, let's defend the billion-dollar company together, guys. Let's go. To which that other user responds, saying if you actually read into it, in this situation, Hoyoverse is in the right. This is something that we've discussed a number of times in the past too, how SAG-AFTRA and a number of the union VAs have come off so unlikable that people are actually defending the corporation. In this example, something that is very rare, but that SAG-AFTRA and those VAs managed to accomplish through how unlikable they are. Congratulations. We'll take a look at a few more examples here. Yeah, this one saying it was revealed by Rio's VA that it was just the VA's own volition to strike in hopes of getting Hoyo to sign that for better treatment. The better treatment being the agreement that's really, bad agreement for Hoyoverse and bad for non-union VAs. It was a group effort done by them, the union VAs, rather than being orchestrated by SAG-AFTRA, since Hoyo games weren't supposed to be involved. Joe Zija referring to this action as a collective work refusal. The current video game strike, the official one by SAG-AFTRA, is against a number of major Western gaming companies. According to my recollection, companies such as Electronic Arts, Warner Brothers, etc., etc. Now, it does seem like SAG-AFTRA is involved on some level, aside from just having their members involved, with the collective work refusal against Hoyoverse games, as we have seen them trying to act as a mediator, a middleman of sorts, with getting the work refusals demands sent over to Hoyoverse and asking Hoyoverse to sign said demands. Some people speculate that they have more involvement, some less, but factually, from what we have seen, they're at the very least trying to get this whole contract forwarded and signed by Hoyo. Ultimately, whatever the case may or may not be, it is still important to remember that SAG is a union built by its members. So by default, by talking about SAG-AFTRA, you are still also talking about its members. Some people try to draw a very clear distinction between the union and the VAs, but the union is made up of the VAs. Now, if we go into further detail, of course, there's a hierarchy, so to speak, with some members not having much involvement. Maybe they just vote here and there. Others are bringing in significant amount of money and get things like healthcare benefits, but around 85.
To be honest, they only got one particular rule to imagine all the classes of games, you have multiple classes. They all have that one requirement. Imagine it's if you get 500 kill to level up your classes to get more benefit, it's really not going to help all the classes. They have one singular rule for multiple entity. Imagine you have to melee kill 500 monsters to get a privilege upgrade, or medical upgrade, this and that other stuff, basically get a job upgrade, something like that. And then imagine you are support class or rangers, basically suck at melee. You have to go do melee, work much more harder to get that level up classes. But all the warrior, the paladins, any other melee classes, berserkers, they all just breeze through the difficulty. And the rest of the non-melee classes is just going to have suffer from all those kind of things. And SAG-AFTRA actually have that kind of effect on every single member in there too. It's mainly the rule that put it in there to be able to earn enough to a certain point to actually get the medical bill cover, this and that other stuff. You need to earn a certain level of money to be able to get that unlocked. But like I say again, voice actors don't really earn enough money for themselves. In fact, they spend more money than earn money. How can a voice actor have a stable career to a point that can have that medical bill unlocked? Medical insurance stuff. For a lot of things, it's just not a viable things. They are jobs that can earn money easily in there, and then there's jobs in there the listed. Right now, the list that you see is there's job that can earn easily. There's jobs that hardly can earn anything. But they still listed everything in one singular rule to rule them all. Equality, my ass.
5% of members, according to my recollection, don't qualify for the minimum income to get benefits. So there's varying degrees here, of course. And then there's people who are voted in to have these executive positions at the union and whatnot. Regardless, though, it is ultimately made up of the members, and some of those are actors, some voice actors. You get the point. What's interesting is when you see lots of people trying to put all the blame on SAG-AFTRA itself and act like the VAs are all innocent, when, as we just discussed, the union is built up of its members. And for
not exactly all innocence. Like I say again, that one guy started all the domino effect. If you harden enough not to be affected by domino effect, basically you personally are a good person in there. But now the domino effect, the strength of the domino effect is so strong. Even you're not in the wrong there, people will still mark you as the nuking area in there. It's like adjacent effect. They got caught in the AoE effect.
Furthermore, as you can see here and elsewhere on the internet, such as Reddit, etc., etc., some people try and cite Erica, the VA for Venti, as proof that SAG is forcing VAs to do certain things and that they don't have free will of their own. For example, this comment that reads, VAs that are part of the union could get blacklisted by SAG-AFTRA if they continue to work. Venti's VA confirmed they are being sent threatening emails by the union. There's a lot more to it, but yeah, VAs are not the main people to blame. Well, in some cases, they are. In some cases, VAs have outspokenly bootlicked for the union and harassed people like Jacob Takanashi. In such cases, absolutely the VAs are also to blame because they're enabling the predatory behavior going on at SAG-AFTRA and harassing people who would stand up to SAG-AFTRA. And this is something that has also happened to Venti's VA. So I find it kind of messed up, actually, that this person is mentioning Erica here, the VA for Venti, but only mentioning the threatening letters part because it helps their argument as they try to paint all the VAs out as like innocent when Venti's VA Erica actually got harassed by other VAs on Blue Sky when she began to expose SAG. And those VAs were even saying things like Erica deserves to get those letters, and they were trying to downplay them, being like, oh, the letters aren't threatening. This is just what happens. Erica deserves this.
Yeah,
so
this is
give
stupid.
Erica the credit that she deserves for going up against the corrupt VAs and their corrupt union and stop enabling the predatory behavior. All right, now let's get some Blue Sky anger. We've got this post that's
It's more like they're stuck inside a bubble for too long. They forgot like outside world exists.
says, I've been hearing murmurings that the English voices for Stell and Kalis in Honkai Star Rail have been recast. Regardless of whether that's true, I just need to reiterate my disappointment in the fandom response. That so many people are so ghoulish as to not care about the livelihoods of the VAs that literally give voice to the main characters of their favorite game because how dare they have to play a game for a few months missing some voice acting? I mean, that's part of it, but you're also ignoring how people just didn't like being manipulated by VAs that were lying to them about their demands and what they're trying to do to Hoyo and non-union VAs. It's funny how this is so often left.
Yeah, the non-union voice actors really getting bullied by this kind of things too. Not even kidding.
Out by people who are trying to always defend the strike and SAG. They are mindless, petulant black holes of content consumption, and I can't stay. It won't make a difference, but I won't be giving Hoyo any more of my time. It's time to drop Honkai Star Rail and all of Mihoyo's other games.
Good.
You can see they open with their rage post here with a really gross analogy, and then go on to say, quote, the voice actor union is actually bad, unquote, if you don't get bent. So are they just defending SAG there? Is that what they're trying to like get at, I guess? Quote, they aren't grateful, unquote. Dude, it's a job, you know, the thing neither of us have. And then they get really mad at this post in particular. Looks like it's from Reddit, where this person says, Hoyo has shown more patience than nearly other companies who would fire anyone not working, especially when there is no official union strike against any Hoyo games. It's unfortunate that it's come to this, but I'm not surprised by the decision after all being unvoiced for so long. Response reading, especially since Honkai Star Rail is a game with 8 hours story patch every patch. It genuinely hurts their whole game because it ruins some people's immersion on the story. They simply can't wait any longer since we're closing on the ending of the first half of Amorphous. Actually that's Amphorius, I think, my bad. They closed their rant by saying, I don't write about games much anymore except for my own blogs, so I feel okay making fun of these people. Well, I mean, all we really got out of this is that you're defending a corrupt union, so congratulations, I guess. But look at this. Elsewhere on Blue Sky, there were some people actually defending Hoyoverse. For example, this person says, at this point, voice actors getting recast like that in Hoyo games don't feel so surprising. It just feels so hurtful that they can just throw people away like that. All they want is protection. Is it that hard? Sigh. Well, once again, we know they want a lot more than that. But this response says, what could have happened when you refused to work for no valid and official reason? In this exchange, we can see someone says, as much as I didn't want it to happen, they withheld work. It was bound to happen. It's been ridiculous to not...
What they're doing right now is almost equivalent to how Rachel Ziegler doing things in Snow White. I'm not even kidding. They just are a bad worker at this point. Bad worker deserve to get fired.
not have the main character voiced since 2.6, 4 patches. I'm not celebrating them losing the roles, but I am happy to finally have the character voiced again. No hate their way or the new VAs. Ignoring the fact that most video games went on voice/minimal VAing back in the day just so you can rip on people's livelihoods is real rich. Bro, this person was so respectful about it, and this guy is still getting like enraged, like seething over it. Oh my gosh, it gets worse. Look at this. I hope you lose your job to AI one day, and I hope AI prevents you from finding another one. Holy smokes, dude. The SAG-AFTRA bootlickers are crazy. They're always so like mad and weird sounding, man. What are you on about? I know you aren't talking about the strike against MiHoYo. And back in the day, my guy, the strike hasn't even passed a year. I know critical thinking is hard for kids these days, but we can't hold your hand through it anymore. Not that I expect much from a selfish redacted. Bro, are you stupid? You didn't even make a point to begin with. Go ahead and reread what I wrote and come up with something that actually is relevant to what I said instead of digging up insults, you dunce. One last thing we'll take a look at here. Do you remember months back near the beginning of this whole situation, when a number of VAs went to Reddit to try and defend SAG-AFTRA and the strike by continuing to spread a false narrative to which people on Reddit called them out, some simply asking questions, and these VAs responded by either dodging and not answering and or blocking people or giving like manipulative lies as a response, to which they got mass downvoted? Well, we'll take a look at this comment from 2 months ago really quick and you'll see why in a second. It reads, they can't see it on Blue Sky. I asked a few of them to clarify and they called me names, said I was anti-worker and pro-billion-dollar company, and blocked me. Kit Harrison, Cher Kirby both did, since I was replying to a thread where they were both in. Blue Sky is great as a safe space for the vileness of Twitter, but I think a lot of people treat it more like a blog than social media. The reason we're taking a look at this again is because I was thinking of a number of the VAs who were on Reddit trying to defend the strike and all that stuff, and I did recall Kit Harrison. So I went over to Blue Sky to Kit Harrison's account to see if he had anything to say about the recent recasts. And there actually wasn't anything that I saw. Doesn't seem like he's talking about it. But there is one thing that I thought was rather interesting and gives some insight onto the VA work. That being this post where he talks about money. The context is, he says, 2 days ago, was driving home yesterday and a pheasant flew headlong into my wing mirror from the side. Heck of a shock. You shouldn't dwell on these things, but if I was driving at any different speed, it would have been way, way worse. Watch out for low-flying birds, kids. First of all, bro, sucks what happened to your car. But that takes us to the quote that he made of that post where he adds onto it saying, Arg, 75 euros for a new wing mirror and 450 euros for a new door window? Anyone needs circa 1 hour of high-quality voice acting? So you're telling me these guys actually get paid? Like this guy is trying to get paid what is like close to $600 USD for an hour of voice acting? And no offense to this guy, but he's not exactly a household name. Doesn't exactly have like a big credit list here, and still wants like 600 USD around for around an hour of VA work. Is that really what these people are trying to charge? That's just crazy.
Let you guys tell me my rate is more or less like 150 an hour for the higher profile. The weaker profile maybe 100. If it's just a YouTube video, I'll let you guys figure out what is fair, what is not fair. Because sometimes some video is like just like 20-minute long. It's not like easy or hard to do.
Crazy in my opinion. So yeah, please let me know what you guys think about that. Am I reading that wrong, or is he really trying to charge like 600, just about 600 USD for an hour of VA work?
600
it takes me back too really quick to something I covered months ago where there was the what was that creepypasta thing? Ben Drowned, I think. Yeah, the creator of Ben Drowned put out a like ad for like needing some background voices, and a bunch of people on Twitter were mad with what he was trying to pay, asking for like hundreds of dollars just to say a few lines. And that sounds so crazy then. But apparently, yeah, these people really do think they should get like paid hundreds for a few lines or like 600 for an hour. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it's a great look, but maybe I'm reading it wrong. I don't think I am, but if I am, let me know in the comments and let me know what you think about all this stuff, including a little bonus at the end. Little insight into the VA stuff here. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. If you did, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in the comments as well as in the next one.
Well, I say what I want to say. Is obviously, I understand why some of the voice actor is like really defensive about their jobs. It's like you really have to earn that shit. But it's the behavior they have is good or not. I'm going to say no. The professionalism literally has been tossed out the window a long time ago when all this like things like started. And to be honest, when speaking about professionalism, it's like the things like about that kind of things is like slowly losing. I know in some sense people might say like professionalism is just like a word that made by multi-million corporation company that multi-billion corporation company for people to be obeying this kind of that and stuff. But discipline is still discipline, you know. You need to have discipline to have a organizing to make an organization functions, because you need to work as a group. Being selfish on the rogue side of the group is not going to help the entire things and move everything together. You know, it's not like one individual, like this one rogue group can do anything. It's like why I say like professionalism is thing is not the way that most people think. When I say professionalism, it's more like you need to have a certain capability of disciplines and understanding of your jobs to work with other people. Right now, all these things happen is basically they just make it very hard for other people to work together with. That's basically what they're doing right now. Either way, thank you very much for watching. And as always, guys, stay healthy, stay safe. Until next time, stay tuned on the next stream. Bye-bye.